The detective hat is back on. I've been sitting quiet for a while, just listening, because sometimes my grandmother said it pays to listen. A still tongue keeps a wise head. Sometimes when you listen intently, you learn a lot. So whatever some people think that they're hiding, it often comes to the fore when they least expect it. It's like they slip up and they actually don't know when they're doing it. So I've been listening to him. And of course, I've been silent because I wanted to wait until he comes out with more. Is there another interview coming? Yeah, with TMZ again. Side note, TMZ to me right now is definitely up to the Z. Zilch means nothing. You see, when people allegedly are getting corrupt, when money starts to flow and they get powerful, and because they have a reach now, they think that reach makes them more credible. And the argument could be said that yes, they could be. Because a lawyer is in the mix, that makes them credible. Yeah, TMZilch has lost me. And this is not to say you're not supposed to give people audience, whether they are guilty, rich, poor. But is that what's happening a lot of the times? And one might say yes, they give ASHLEE's parents them audience, so it's only fair for them to give Joe audience. So they're being impartial, as news supposed to be. But sometimes the questions you ask, they are so obviously geared in a certain direction. They are geared to shape the audience's belief system, their mind about a certain situation. And that's why I've been giving TMZ my two side eyes. Yeah. So Joe talked. Oh, yes, he talked. Let me give you a synopsis of essentially what his whole argument or his story, allegedly, his defense, it appears, is. He proposed to the love of his life, his soulmate, and they essentially met a year or so ago. And according to him, he met her when she was doing this gig with Iggy Azalea. Or she was responsible for the models. And essentially, she ended up being one of the models in the end. And Joe, he was the DJ. Isn't that romantic? And she came over to him. Yeah, this is the romantic story. She came over to him and she said, Iggy said to keep the music down. And of course he looked at her and he's like, no. He didn't find her attractive at all. No. Because that wasn't the reason why he hit her up afterwards. And sneakily told her he's moving to Miami. Oh, isn't that romantic? No, it's a coincidence, according to Joe. It wasn't planned at all. It wasn't him stalking her on her feeds, and it wasn't him knowing about her beforehand at all. No, 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 no. Joe never met her before that. He has never heard of her before that. He has never seen her at all before that. It was the very first time. So when he, by some divine intervention, appears to be moving to the same place where she lives, that was definitely, that was just divine intervention. It just proves how much that they were meant to be. And guess what? The first date, essentially, they just felt that vibes. You know, that tingling. In fact, when she was late and she touched him on the shoulder, man, electricity went up into the sky and there was a big pow. And Joe was in love. Nobody has ever made him feel that way. The electricity, that was the clue to his everlasting love. Yes, ASHLEE felt it too. Sparks? It was more than sparks. What's the next thing after sparks? Whatever that is. Flames? Ah, yes. Flames. It was flaming. Ha! Not that kind of flaming. But they drew fire among each other. And for a white man, most of them with certain characteristics, they would wait for you forever if they have to. The only time they don't do that is after they get you. They get impatient because, yeah, the white man is known for being on time. I love you guys. Oh, yeah. You're famous for that well-disciplined punctuality. No, anything late, like ASHLEE turning up 2 hours late and him still sitting there waiting. No, he definitely wanted this woman. Yeah, she made such an impression on him. He was in love. So speed that up a bit to this year. He proposed, he said, I believe April, at home in their private Miami home, where ASHLEE was she was so in, was it shock? Was she crying? Oh, she was so overwhelmed with joy and pain and the desire to run and get the hell out of here, but she couldn't because she was in love. Because you see all that tingling, the dopamine, the whatever, many people mistake it for love. Yeah, the simple, lustful, minds, they often think that's love. Love is a choice. It's a choice. It's a decision you make to love somebody, regardless of whether or not they are fat, thin, having mental issues, having drink alcoholism, having whatever. It's a decision you make. That's why sometimes when people lie to you, because you chose to love that person, you decide to be by their side through it all. That's a choice. It's not the tingly feeling that Joe said he felt. But, again, he proposed home, and ASHLEE already knew that. Mind you, ASHLEE Robinson was proposed to prior to the trip to Tanzania. But ASHLEE, with the 2 E's, she was proposed to for the clicks. Yes, the lion and everything that I found so exciting, and so yeah, titillating and tantalizing, stimulating, and was so happy for her. That was just for ASHLEE. Yeah. Regardless, she was in love. Look at her jump and straddle that man. It's like, yeah. But they began to fight. Wow. That's quite a 360. For somebody to be on top of the world at home and then to go to Tanzania, you're going to enjoy it, you know. Look, they were in the airplane and just celebrating with champagne, and he was looking at her with all the love was just emanating from his being. You see that piercing look that he looked at her when they were in the plane? Yes, that is true love. Not creepy at all. No, nothing there that looks like, yeah, if you only know what's in for you. Nothing there at all. And of course, that's her protector, right? So she could feel confident to even drink everything that comes to her, because he would protect her. That's her man, her fiancé. Yeah. But no, after such a beautiful proposal, and they got to Zanzibar, because apparently they went to 3 different resorts. Yeah, Zanzibar turned out, according to Joe, to be the 3rd one. And for some reason, ASHLEE, whom he said was already displaying mental stress, mental agony, mental issues, because she couldn't have children. Really? Let me jump on that a little. She is 31, and the doctor told her that she couldn't have any kids. So she was devastated. Of course, if you do want kids, you would definitely be devastated if you hear such a news. But let me tell you something. ASHLEE was young. She was 31. Joe has lots of money. She could get all kind of treatments to be able to help her be more fertile, or whatever her condition was. Most of the times when you hear a black person cannot have kids, most of the times, because we are fertile as hell. Ask my sisters, most of the times it's because they may have fibroids, and of course maybe their womb may be tilted, which is very rare. But I do not believe that that was a situation where ASHLEE, unless the doctor didn't educate her enough about the potential, it was only the possibility that she may not. It doesn't mean that she couldn't. That's what I got. But I believe he probably didn't want to have kids. I don't believe he did. And I know my reason for saying so. I don't believe he wanted kids. So when he heard that, he was happy. Who knows if he doesn't have something tied? I don't believe he wanted kids. But now he has the perfect explanation as to why ASHLEE all of a sudden, despite her joy, she's now fearful that he would leave her.
My experience, when a man sees your potential,
Wow.
and when you have a great body, he doesn't want you to mess up your body. And in ASHLEE's case, her body is the money-making machine, and he wanted to tap into that potential. So he may not have wanted her to spoil that money-making machine.
That's the reason I'm getting to. That's the reason I was pointing at. I don't believe he wanted kids. More. He already had those over there. And ASHLEE was the one that was really taking on that role to look after those kids. And it's only fair that she started to visualize what her kids would look like with him. So all that talk, it could have been any white man. It's not necessarily him that she may want to have kids with. It could have even been a black man if he turned out to be okay. Although she's a divester, whatever it is she says she is, she was still young. People evolve and their mind change. Yeah. So I could tell you right now that my 31 self isn't my self today. It's not my age today. My age is big right now. So I could tell you people change and they evolve. And I could see that he may not have wanted children with her or with anybody else in the future. But he punks on that as the reason that she started to develop, or her abandonment issues were triggered because, oh, ASHLEE had such a hard time when she was growing up. Her childhood wasn't the best and she has abandonment issues. So because of that, she thought I would leave her. Why? If you're such an excellent partner, why would a woman feel insecure with you because she can't have kids? Yeah, there's a reason. There was something already brewing between you and her outside of that news. And as I said, she could have had kids, depending on what it is, because that was not her definite diagnosis. She's still young. She was still young. I'm so mad she's dead. I'm honestly upset. But no. ASHLEE apparently brought that mental issue over to Zanzibar, not the other resorts at all. No. ASHLEE chose Zanzibar for that. Nothing triggered her at Zanzibar at all. Because Joe, he wasn't a frequent flyer to Zanzibar at all. This was his first time there, right? He knew no one. So he didn't trigger ASHLEE at all. She just, out of the blue, just got triggered and re-triggered. And he's showing you, I know I said this is a synopsis, but you notice that in between I'm kind of elaborating. Yeah. But he is showing you that when she was in Miami, she was already behaving irrationally and mentally by walking across the highway. By the way, there are no cars. The place looked like there's no traffic because you know there are certain areas at certain time of the day there's barely any traffic. And even me, walk across the street. Because in the Caribbean, and she's a Caribbean woman, she's from Trinidad, or she has Trinidadian background, whether or not she grew up in Jersey and then she went to Philly, whatever, she would have certain things in her where maybe perhaps she saw her mother walk the street. They do it all the time. People walk across streets, even if it's a highway, if it's at a location where they live, which it appear to be, and it's not busy, we would run across and walk across it. We do that all the time. That's not something to even put on the air, but that's one of his evidence to point that ASHLEE was unstable. And we do not know the real ASHLEE. No, not even her family and friends knew that she is prone to a mental breakdown. Everyone is, to be honest. Almost everybody is. It depends. It depends on who you have in your life and how they're triggering you. But based on my assessment of what he is saying, ASHLEE was not feeling safe with him. She was not feeling as loved with him. She was already sensing that this may not be the man for her a year later. But I think that he saw her potential and he was trying to get her to marry him. Trust me, you see, when you get proposed to and you feel love and you feel okay, you're great with the proposal and with the man, most women, they look happier than ASHLEE when he showed her. She was probably crying because she probably didn't really want to do it. She doesn't mind doing it for the click. Of course, that's her job. Yeah. I'm sure he was part of it too. It's not just her, because he wanted her to excel so that he knows he would benefit as well. And millionaire or not, sometimes when you check these people out for real, sometimes they don't really want to lose a cent. They don't really often want to spend as much as they appear. Sometimes the women in their lives make them look good. So don't bother with, he's full of talks now because ASHLEE's not around to really contradict or challenge what he has to say. So he could say whatever he wants. He could spin the tale whatever he wants. Perfect example to come up with the fact that she was already distressed. No. ASHLEE would have dealt with that later. She would have go about her business, make her money, and go for the best of medicine there is that money could buy, with her own money, with or without Joe. And she would have been able to have children. In this day and age, yeah. But anyway, back to Zanzibar. Why were they arguing? Why? Let me tell you something that I know for a fact. When you go on a vacation with a man, that man has to make you feel safe. But there are some men, and this is how you know the character of a man. If you are unable to be disciplined when you're surrounded by a bevy of beauties and I am not around, the testament of a man with good character is his ability to control himself, respect the person he's with, and respect himself, respect the relationship. If a man cannot do that, that's not a man of great character. He's not saying what he did while he was on Zanzibar. There are some reports of him allegedly flirting with other women there. And trust me, a Caribbean woman or a woman that grew up in a Caribbean household, she's gonna give you hell. For where ASHLEE went wrong is that she made a scene when they were at the bar or wherever in front of the reception desk or wherever they were. That's a testament of her age. As I said, she was young. And people like him who give off this PDF predatory vibes, they often like to use the excuse that they are mature for their age. ASHLEE was mature for her age. She took on maturity to match your vibe and energy because it makes you feel better. As women, we do that. But a testament of her age is the way that she wasn't as emotionally mature as she should be, or she wasn't good at regulating her emotions. Because despite having that Caribbean fire, she could have still done that. But I believe she contained herself as much as she could in public. But when they got to Villa 25, lucky number 25, that's when she gave him hell. And he's not saying anything like that. No. He's saying that, oh, well, she was emotional and we went that morning particularly to the beach and you could see them in the beach and ASHLEE did not look happy at all. And she forgot her ring and he had to go back to the safe to find her ring. But meanwhile, he had already told them he wanted to switch villas. Yeah. Because ASHLEE was cray-cray. She wasn't herself. For no reason. She just snapped on Zanzibar because of something that happened over there. I do not believe you, Joe. You're full of shit with that one. I do not believe him. I believe that ASHLEE did not feel safe with him. She felt like this is not the relationship that she signed up for. She realized he's a different type of man when she travels a lot more with him and when he's outside of the U.S. environment where he's a little bit more contained there. He cannot behave the way in the U.S. as he would behave in Zanzibar. No, they like to let go when they're in places like the Caribbean and in other third world countries. Yes, third world countries are their oysters. They behave.